these are not just issues of state sovereignty. They are also issues that relate to core foreign policy and national security interests in Canada and, quite frankly, here in the United States as well.
Salman, do you take that view or do you have a different view?
Thank you, Matthew. I don't take it at all. It's important to note that Saudi Arabia was completely caught by surprise by this provocative and diplomatically immature statement by the Canadian government, because it basically goes directly against the sovereignty of the kingdom by openly intervening in the internal affairs of a sovereign state. Just in fact, Canada may not be aware of this, but they have blatantly violated UN Resolution 2131, which was adopted by the UN General Assembly in 1965, which prohibits countries from intervening in the internal affairs of other countries. This is number one. Number two, it's just let's... Yeah, go ahead.
Before you go on to number two, I mean, you describe it as provocative. I've got the statement here. Canada is gravely concerned about additional arrests of civil society and women's rights activists in Saudi Arabia, including Samar Badawi. We urge the Saudi authorities to immediately release them and all other peaceful human rights activists. What is so provocative about asking for human rights activists to be released after they've been arrested?
First of all, they said to release them immediately, as if they have a commanding order for Saudi Arabia. Just let's imagine if Saudi Arabia does the same thing with Canada. We all know that there are 1.6 million indigenous people living in Canada, and the United Nations talked about this last year and urged the government of Canada to do some work to give them more services, more help, more support, etc. Imagine if Saudi Arabia would go and have this kind of provocative statement against Canada and say you have to do this and this, as if they are commanding or instructing.
Okay, let me bring Rachel back in then.
The Canadians,
Rachel, you've heard what Salman has said. I mean,
when it comes to women's economic potential, the restrictive male guardianship system in Saudi Arabia inhibits women's ability to participate in numerous ways. The right to obtain a passport, to travel without male permission, to open a bank account. These restrictions limit women's ability to participate throughout society and, importantly, economically.
The Saudi Arabians under King Salman signed up to that 2000 deal, ratifying the UN Convention on Eliminating Discrimination Against Women. As I say, that was in 2000. You've got this row going on. At the very same time, the Crown Prince is touring Western capitals. We saw him with Donald Trump, Theresa May, trying to project a completely different image of Saudi Arabia. Doesn't everything we've been discussing about this diplomatic row counter with the image he's trying to project?
Yeah, I think it's not a matter of an image we want to project to the others. It's something that we are working for ourselves. And no one can deny the fact that the reforms are not only economic, they are social, religious and economic reforms that are unprecedented in the kingdom. For the last 3 years, the reforms of the last 3 years are equal to the reforms of the last 3 decades. No one can deny this. When it comes to the guardianship and all the other things about opening a bank account, I think the information are not updated. That's the thing. Maybe we are not working hard on telling people that the advancements we've had and the progress we've had. Yes, there's a long way to go. Women in different countries are struggling, including in Canada. Canada is in one of the top 10 countries that have domestic violence, that has a high rate of suicide. So there are a lot of things that we should look at the whole thing. We should look at the whole package. Saudi Arabia is moving towards a new future. Saudi Arabia has still some shortfalls here and there, but we do not allow any country to dictate to us with such a tone that is so provocative what to do and what not to do.